Heyo, and welcome to my video. It's Puddles here. I'm just making a short video just on some DM prep that I'll be doing for my high-level evil one-shot that I'll be running on Sunday. Basically, I'm just going to go through some thought processes, some encounters, things that I've planned, things that I expect, and things I just need to be ready for in case the player characters decide to go down that avenue. So let's hop into it, I suppose. First, I'll just get one to roll 20 here. Okay, so I've just made a quick list here of things that I need to think about. Things that are definitely going to happen. I'm going to have the party return to the hags with the brain of the Sphinx that they killed. So our DM, he's finished his break, but we're not quite finished with the one shot, so he is actually going to join us as a player character, and I'll be introducing him as in the hag scene. He's picked the new Druid UA with the fungus Druid, and he's given me a bit of a backstory on the concept of his character. She's evil, I think, half elf or wood elf. That eats humans, humanoid things. So she's a cook. I thought, what a perfect way to introduce her character, then have her help the hags make the potion. And then the characters will have to sort of take it from there. So the scene with the hags and the introduction should be pretty straightforward. I do have some things in store for the players depending on how they treat the hags, but I'll go into that a little bit later. I don't think that I should be expecting any funny business. I don't think the characters will kill the hags after they've got the potion or anything like that, but who knows. Once they get the potion and they make it through the swamp where the Squire Matthew will be waiting for them, I'm going to let the players know that a messenger has been sent from their keep. A group of Deva, or Diva, I'm not exactly sure how you say it, have basically obliterated the last of their forces, and have taken the corpse of Ilva and resurrected her. So Ilva the Firstborn, who I mentioned in the session recap video, a group of Deva have picked her up, resurrected her, and she is going to be in future fights with the Order. I made mention of a group of Deva that were fighting for the Order, and this is, if there are high-level, powerful beings that have the ability to raise the dead and resurrect people, I don't see why they wouldn't do that. So even though the characters have already killed this high-level paladin, they're going to have to do it again. Then, I suppose, I'm not exactly sure what the party are going to do next. They have a few different avenues, but it doesn't really matter what they do next because the Diva encounter is... I'm not necessarily railroading them, but whichever route they take, they are going to run into the group of Diva. So I initially planned for 5 Divas, but because there is now 5 player characters and they're level 16, not 15, I think I am going to have 4 Devas and a Planetar. So I'll quickly go through the encounter, my ideas behind it, what I might change, what I might sort of have to think about as it's happening. But if we go into my one-shot thing, so the Planetar is it's a pretty strong beast. It's challenge rating of 16, so it's formidable just by itself, but I've found that the encounters have been pretty, not lackluster, but just not as dangerous as they should have been, so I'm just putting everything into this one, and I'm sure that the group can handle it. lots of healing, lots of damage. There's some spell casting here, mostly things that aren't that good in battle. Blade Barrier is really good if they wanted to like group the party, but I don't think he's going to really use too much of its spells. I'm going to do Control Weather as a as like a giant storm is forming where the Devas are, and the party are going to ride into it. Just as a sort of flavor, and then other characters in the player characters have access to control weather as well, which means when they try to change it, they're going to have to roll a spell dice check, which will imply to them that what is controlling the weather is magical. So that'll also give them a little bit of a heads up of what's happening. In terms of the Deva, the Planetar, itself, it's not really... It's pretty straightforward. It's just swings its swords, casts its spells, and heals. I'm not really putting too much thought into that. I'll just play it as it is. I did have, however, one thing when I was looking at the Devas here. I'll just go to... I've also given them each names. I feel when you give the creatures names as opposed to just saying there's a Deva in front of you, the characters are more inclined to be involved in the fight. So the one thing I did find with Devas is the polymorph here. I thought that was very interesting. I thought I could use that to make an interesting encounter. So my original plan was to have one Deva and then have 4 of the other Devas transform into magical beasts, which I've sort of homebrewed based on other things. I've sort of taken a little... I've taken it a little bit further than what it sort of says, and have just created my own creatures. So we'll go first. So the first beast that they're going to turn into is Lucian, who will be in turtle form. He has 22 natural armor, 100 hit points, so not too crazy hard to kill, but I've taken different creatures from the monster manual and added their abilities a little bit. So the Raymaraz has a ability, the Heated Blood, that whenever it takes damage, whenever you hit it with a melee weapon, you take damage. So I've put that into the turtle form. So it's this super crazy, tanky beast of a thing, but you also take damage whenever you hurt it. So they will... I think there'll be a couple of rounds of them hurting themselves before they realize that they should back up and use melee weapons. One thing, I haven't actually done it on this character sheet yet, but when a Deva turns into a beast, it keeps its... I'm pretty sure I changed it on this one. So it keeps its wisdom and charisma. So that'll be really good for saving throws and intelligence. So normally if there's like a giant turtle, the warlock can dominate the beast or things like that. But at least with this, they'll have a decent chance of saving against it. And each different beast that they turn into sort of has like a different shtick or a different thing that it does. So the turtle is super tanky, and every time you hurt it, it hurts you. It's got just a regular bite that you can grapple with, and once it's bitten something, it can't bite another thing. I'm making each of them resistant to two types of damage. So the turtle is resistant to fire and force. I might also make bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing, but all the players have magical items anyway, so that is null and void, so I don't have to worry about that. Second creature is Gaius, eagle form. So in the eagle form, it's based off a rock. I've changed it a little bit, so it does... I've just half the damage and then given it 2d8 lightning damage. Again, resistant to lightning. The whole purpose of the eagle form is to pick someone up, fly super high, and then drop them. A couple of characters have flying abilities, others have slow fall, things like that, but it's an interesting mechanic that will make the fight a little different and a little bit more exciting. It's got a decent amount of health, it should take a while to kill, and its flying is insane. It's got a lot of movement, so with the combination of the beak and the talons and the picking up, it should be it should add a lot to the fight. third is Avitus, who's a stag. So the stag, I sort of built this. I looked through the monster manual for creatures that just do damage to things in their area, and I couldn't really find any that I was happy with to like just copy and paste the stats to. So I just made it myself. It's like a stag. 145 hit points, 17 armor, 50 speed, but it can gore, and it does the trampling charge, which is similar to Triceratops. I think that's what I got that based off. And then there's a strength saving throw to be knocked prone. But I've added, if the target is prone, Avitus can restrain the creature with its like giant antlers, pinning it to the ground. So that's an extra thing that I've added on, but it also combines with the shtick, or the thing that Avitus has, and it has a radiant coat. So each hostile creature within 10 feet of Avitus must make a Constitution saving throw or take 2d6 radiant damage. So just being next to this creature, you take damage on your turn. So the trampling charge and pinning someone to the ground is like perfect combination. A lot of the characters have like 20. I think 3 characters have 20 strength. So I'm not too worried about all of these creatures, their strength, trampling things like being too broken, because I know that a lot of the characters are going to save a lot of these things. So I'm not too worried. It's just a thing to make the fight a little bit more interesting. Then I have Marius, who's tiger form. I took him from a Behir because I wanted one of them to be able to swallow. And then afterwards I realized that Remorazes can swallow, and all these other creatures can swallow, and there's lots of swallowing. But basically the tiger bites 1 round, grapples you in its giant maw, and then swallows you on its turn if you fail your strength checks and things like that. Or if you just want to attack it in its mouth and not actually try to break free, it's just gonna swallow you. And then if that happens, we'll probably have some acid damage and things like that. It's all in this giant wall of text right here. Yeah, so I decided to do this just to make it a little bit more exciting, change the encounter up a little bit. The only thing I'm not sure about is whether they die in animal form, whether they should revert to their Deva selves, or they should just die. I'm thinking at this stage, if they die in the animal forms, they should just die, because it's like another 160 hit points that they have to get through after that, times 4, plus a planetar they're dealing with. So I think that might be a bit too much, but if, say, they've killed 2 of them and all the characters are still up and they have a lot of abilities that they can still use, maybe I'll keep them alive. I think I'm just going to decide that on the day, and just see how the encounter goes. I think it's going to be a really fun encounter. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Yeah. So those are the 3 things that definitely will happen in the session. So I'm going to introduce the new character, have the meeting with the hags. The character is going to learn about the resurrection of Ilva, and there's going to be a encounter with the Divas. Now, things that might happen, things that I have to that I've been planning, depending on what the character's actions are. Nightmares. If the characters continue to insult the hags, they are going to be not cursed, but they're going to flood them with nightmares. I think one character can see into the ethereal plane, so there might be issues there, because that's how night hags do it. They go to the ethereal plane, walk over there, send you a nightmare, and you get exhausted and things like that. But I've got some ideas for each character. I won't go through it right now, but I have like what each character's nightmare would be. But yeah, if they treat them rudely, if they don't heed their warning that I gave them in the last session, then they will get nightmares. Also, one of the characters, Vanta, she is a follower of the Raven Queen, but needless does she know, she's not actually getting her powers from the Raven Queen. She's getting them from Vecna. This was an idea I had just, I was thinking about it the other day, of an artifact that I could give them. Sorry, let's put that back like that. An artifact that I could have in the order, that the order is sort of protecting, to keep out of evil hands. And I was flicking through the Dungeon Master's Guide, and I saw the Eye of Vecna, Hand of Vecna, and the whole like Vanta's whole thing is perception and seeing and having magic eyes and just seeing everything. So I was like, Eye of Vecna would really work. Then I was thinking about it. Well, the Eye of Vecna, or Vecna, is a god of trickery, god of lies, and this character used to sort of be neutral, and then like in a spout of rage killed like all these people. And what I'm having is she used to be a worshipper of the Raven Queen, but when that happened, the Raven Queen left her. It was like, you're not acting neutral, you are now evil. I will no longer give you powers. And that's when Vecna came in and sort of pretended to be the Raven Queen. And so I'm hoping that it's like a big reveal at the end of the one shot, especially when I'm making the artifact the Eye of the Raven Queen. But when he realizes it's the Eye of Vecna will be a big reveal. I'm hoping it works out that way. We'll see. But the point that I'm trying to get to is that I've completely lost my train of thought. So Vecna is tricking this character. I've had commune scenes where he's talking with the Raven Queen, and she's veiled. He can't see anything. If he communes again, so this is a thing that might happen. If he communes again, I'm going to have the Raven Queen ask if he would like better eyesight so that he can see the Raven Queen when they commune, or just like better eyesight in general, which I think his character's like gonna go for. And then that's when I'll introduce the artifact that's being protected by the Order, so when they are in the keep, that'll be something else that they will be looking for. And I've got like a group of people that I have specifically created encounter-wise to defend the artifact. Whether they go for it or not, doesn't matter, but it's something an option for the characters. So those are things that might happen depending on what the characters do. So I just need to be aware of that. I'm prepared for both, and I'm ready, and it's going to be awesome. Things that I also need to be ready for. Basically, there are two avenues that I think the characters will go down once they have finished up with the hags. Are they either going to go to the orcs that are fighting the Order in the mountains and recruit some allies / find some servants, and then, or they could just skip that completely and go straight to the Order's keep. Now, I need to make sure I have some orcs. How it's going to work, there's not many left. The Order has killed most of them, but they are led by a very powerful warlord, and when the group find them and meet them, I'm assuming that the group are going to be like, we're powerful and super strong, you guys follow us now. And the warlord's going to be like, nah, that's not how it works here. We fight to the death. So I'm going to have like a one-on-one combat with whoever they select as their champion. I assume it will be the Fallen. And yeah, so it's not going to be like a crazy hard, super strong orc. She should be able to kill him unless she's really unlucky, in which case she's dead. And the orcs don't follow. But yeah, after that combat, the orcs will help with the assault on the keep. If they completely waylay that, then it's onto the keep. So I have some encounters. I have out the front of the keep, there's going to be a bridge. They're going to explode the bridge, so the group's going to have to find their own way to get across. There's also going to be a fight in the courtyard with Matthew's father, Connalt. So he is a warlord, CR12. He's going to have a whole bunch of allies with him, some strong, some weak, and it's just going to be a slugfest. Once that's over, there's going to be, I think Ilva will be in that fight as well. I'm not sure yet. And then I'm going to have Ada, who is the firstborn. She's also a very powerful character. She and a group of others will be defending the Eye of the Raven Queen, which is actually the Eye of Vecna. And then there will be obviously another fight there. I don't think any of these like big battles are going to happen. I think the assault on the keep is going to be the fourth and final session. If I can get one encounter in, that would be good, because otherwise the other session is going to run quite big, because I want the bridge scene, I want the courtyard scene, I want the scene with the artifact, and then I want the temple scene. and with the temple, I've got the portal that's opening up for the god the son of Tyr to come through, is basically going to be the end of the campaign. If they close it in time, then they can continue to go on their killing spree, be evil, do all the evil things. But if they fail, then I'm going to send an Imperin. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a CR23 giant Titan angel monster thing. It looks awesome. It kicks ass. I might even send a couple of solars in as well. But basically, it's just if they don't close the portal in time, I haven't thought about it too yet, but when I get to session 4, I'll think about how to set time limits and make it more stressful for the players. But once they if they close the portal, all good. If they don't, there's pretty much no way that they can survive. But it will be a slugfest until they all die. And yeah, I'm pretty sure all my players are gonna have a lot of fun with it. And yeah, I'm excited for the session. In terms of things that I need to prepare for, that's about it. I think the session should run really well, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. See ya.